It is cold. The process of installing signs is pretty ugly. There's big nasty holes. Taking this to a whole new level. I'm sorry. There's a lot of just ugly things you can hide. Good morning. Welcome back to the job site. Today's mission, I'm going to put this shoebox style push-through acrylic sign up there where that banner is. Should be pretty straightforward. This is going to be like a slam dunk kind of sign. It's about 32 degrees. It's dark. It's cold. Let's go hang a sign. Alright, first things first, got to make room for the sign. Take this banner down. Now, there used to be a sign here until recently when I took it down to put this banner up. So I know there's power, I know there's wood, nice wood wall, no crazy materials you gotta worry about. Just wood and corrugated sheet metal siding. Alright, I remember where the studs were. Okay, there's a stud right there. And one right there, that's probably 2 feet. So this new sign is just going centered above the door, which I think I had it mathed out already. Yeah, because I put the banner up centered where it was. Oh, there's a nice little mud wasp nest. You can see that. Hopefully they're not in there. If they are, they're sleeping. Well, I think I'm going to do some measuring and then transfer it onto the sign. Do some holes in that and then just stick it on the wall. I know, super exciting. But in order to actually get the proper placement, knowing where I want to put my bolts in the wall, I kind of need to know more or less where I can put them in this sign. Imagine there's some kind of frame structure to this sign where I'm supposed to mount to. So you don't want to just go through the backer, which is usually only held on with rivets. Oh, these screws. I like to keep these little wire nut containers and screw containers just on hand so I can put loose screws and stuff in so you don't lose them. So this is a push-through acrylic sign. So the gold there is just on top of white acrylic. And that's pushed through the face. I'll show you once I get it opened up. And it's a shoebox style sign. I mean, it's not a big stretch to realize or figure out what that is. It's like a shoebox. If you can imagine what a shoebox looks like, basically it just has a cover that goes on top of a big pan channel. No workshops for me. The parking lot is my workshop. Okay, so this thing should just pop off. Like that. It's not too tight of a fit. So that's the inside of the shoebox sign. I hope you get what a shoebox is now. Okay, so there's some frame. Not a lot. I'd like to hit this bottom frame and this top frame. Should be plenty. I mean, just drywall screws would be enough to hold this thing on the wall for 20 years, but I gotta use 3/8 hardware. Okay, so now I know where I can put bolts in the sign. Now I just need to find where the studs are up there, put them in every 4 feet. Easy peasy. They need to be 22.5 on centers. Okay, let's go drill. All right, drill some holes. So that's my center. All right, so find the overall height, 34.25. Where are my pins? Center on the button. So those were 22.5 parts, and then I just go off my center, 11.25, and down to 22.5, which I may not drill the bottom ones until I have it on the wall. Just makes it easier. Just put in the top anchors, hang the sign, and then just run more legs into the bottom. So I'll be using these guys, these hanger bolts, I call them. I think that's kind of an industry standard, but they're also known as like furniture bolts. It's just got a lag screw on one side and a bolt on the other. So you can put this into the wall, take the bolts off, or the nuts off, hang your sign on it, spin the nuts on, and it's done. Just makes it a little cleaner, I think, than trying to hold the sign up there and run a screw into it while it's just floating. But to each their own, whatever makes you happy. All right, what am I doing here? Forgot my level. Grab that, make sure I get these all in the right spot. We're gonna do that real quick. It is cold. All right, sit tight. Taking this to a whole new level. sorry. We're gonna get a lot more of those. I am a dad, so dad jokes are just kind of my thing. Okay, so I've done this for years. I know there's some people who are like, how could you do that? It's so inaccurate. I mean, it's accurate enough for what I do. Alright, that one's laid out. Close enough. Close enough for sign work, I'd like to say. And one thing I've found doing signs is there's a lot of just ugly things you can hide. Well, one, because most signs are high up in the air. You're not close enough to see it anyway. A lot of the imperfections, a lot of little weird things. Like your average person just sees a sign and doesn't really think much past that. Unless you're a sign guy, then you look into it with minutia detail, which is kind of, it's a blessing and a curse when you get to be a lot more detail oriented. It's like I go over to my sister's house and I can't stand it because she has one of her pictures just a little out of level and I have to go fix it. There's good wood there. Alright, where is my socket? Pull out my bag of tricks here. Whoop. Sockets, driver bits, everything an installer could hope for. I might have to make that in the sheet metal a little bigger. Let's see here. So I just bust right in there. Leave that a little out. This doesn't have to be perfect either. What I think I'm going to do here, just because it's an uneven surface with these ribs, I'm going to spin this back on. It's more or less at that depth, just so we don't crush it. So then the pressure of the sign is bared on that instead of smushing the sign or the siding in. I don't know why I would try to protect the siding. It's seen better days. This is one of those doesn't have to be pretty things. Perfect instance. It is cold. Ugh. One more bolt. Get at the right depth, close to the right depth anyways. Good enough. I wondered, like, how many signs were on this wall? What stories does this building have to tell? Alright, now let's transfer those onto the new sign, get some holes drilled in that, and then stick it up. Alright, so the easiest way to do this is to do it on the back. It's nice and flat. And you can mark it up as much as you want without worrying about it. Another one of those doesn't have to be pretty things. It's the back of the sign, no one's going to see it. 119 and a half, quarter inch under 5 feet. And if you do flip the sign over, just make sure to note what's the top and what's the bottom. I've gotten stung like that a few times. Well, once. Alright, so 22 and a half, so about a half inch in. Double check. 22 and a half, perfect. and then 4 foot from there. It's pretty standard to put fasteners at 4 foot intervals. I mean, really anything less than that is a little overkill. But also, it just depends on what you're installing. Like if it's really heavy, sure, use as much as you want. But the Kirkland, I mean, they don't want things to fall down, which is understandable. But it's like I've taken down signs that are just held on the wall with silicone. Once you get all the fasteners out, there's just a big bead of silicone across the top, and it's just flopping there, just glued to the wall. But they don't like to see silicone used as an adhesive. Like, excuse me? It's probably one of the better just off-the-shelf adhesives you can get. Although I have seen plenty of signs that have fallen down that were just held up with silicone. The case could be made. But one thing I've definitely found dealing with inspectors is just do what they want. It's like it's not a fight you really want to have, because you're a lose. Two more. So when I said earlier, my measurements don't have to be like to the 32nd of an inch accurate for a reason. It's because I make the holes big, so they can be off a little bit and it won't matter. So yeah, big holes. Another one of those things that don't have to be pretty. You can have a big nasty hole in a sign, as long as you cover it with like washers and stuff. That's fine. Whoa. These big nasty holes. Ow. Okay. Well, that's that. So I'll drill the power hole once it's on the wall. Hang it up. Oh, this is so heavy. This thing probably weighs, I don't know, 30 pounds. Face probably weighs 60. Alright, fun part. It's getting in this thing. Alright, let's see if my measurements worked out. See if I look like I know what I'm doing. A long way to go. Down a little bit. Ooh. Hey, I knew what I was doing. A washer on that. Oh, looks like it's perfect. I mean, these are probably some of the easier types of signs to install, just because it's two pieces, one power, nice frame, no weird things you have to account for. I like my installs nice and straightforward, nothing crazy. All right, that side's gonna come up a touch. Right there. Let's tighten that up just a touch. Oh. I do love a ratcheting wrench. I remember when they first came on the scene, they started becoming mainstream. Everybody was using them. Oh god, that was such a life changer. So nice. And this sign probably would be just fine with these 3 bolts in it. I'm sure the bottom would flop a little bit, but not much. That's how raceway signs are installed these days. Okay, so that's that. I need to grab some more lag screws, run those in the bottom, drill my power hole. It's kind of nice. You can just put it wherever you want with how this is set up. I mean, I'm an electrician, but I'm a lazy electrician when I need to be, but not all the time. Whew, I gotta say, once you get moving, it's suddenly not that cold. I mean, anybody that works outdoors can say that. There's a noise. Sometimes you don't want to tighten them too tight, because then it'll blow this section of frame out. It just makes getting the cover back on a little tricky, especially with channel letters. I'm sure I'll have a chance to show you those someday. Putting those covers back on can be kind of a pain. Run that in there. There's something satisfying. Not running a lag into a piece of wood with an impact driver. Just love it. Don't love getting a runny nose though. It'd be nice on camera. Solid. Now, the shake test. That ain't going nowhere. Just had to do it. Had to do it. Alright, let's drill a hole. Another one. Right there. Hey look, another thing that doesn't have to be pretty. Maybe that's what I'll title this video. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it turns out pretty when you're all done. The process of installing signs is pretty ugly, especially with all the butchering you have to do to some walls. Do this just for tidiness sake. Sure put a lot of LEDs in this thing, which is fine. It'll be nice and bright, but like the text is only here, so you probably could have just gotten away with those two, but I don't build signs, I just install them. Alright, there's that. I think I'm just gonna shove some silicone in that hole. Should get it a nice good seal. Not like this building doesn't leak. I may just put some silicone in there too. I mean, you can leave a job site cleaner and better than you found it, just to be a Boy Scout. Okay, now we put the cover back on, and I don't think these guys are going to be here for a long time to get inside and do the wiring. So we may have to revisit that, but let's get the cover on for now. I could plug it into the generator just so I know it works, but still have to get inside to hook it up. All right, let's grab us a cover. Screws. All right, driver bit ready. Oh yeah, this is much heavier. Oh man. Okay, don't do that. All right, what up? Just goes on like that. Not a bing, not a boom. Our shop's production manager drives right by this place every day. Nice to be a little early for her though. I do like installing signs. Gets you outside, working with your hands. You get to use your brain a little bit in some situations. Other times, like, it's just almost brainless the kind of installs I have to do, but I get paid by the hour. I mentioned that it is cold. It's probably 32 degrees, 33 by now. some Zep and a rag. Get this bad boy off. I'm trying to figure out when they're here. I may have to come back. We'll cross that bridge here in a minute. Nice looking sign. I do like a good push-through acrylic sign when they're done well. It's probably the biggest complaint I have about these signs is, I mean, sure, they look good now and probably for a few years. These will start to fail and push in. Oh shoot, I was going to show you, but basically this is all glued to another big piece of plastic that's glued to the inside of the face, the metal cover, and the glue just doesn't last forever. There are mechanical ways to do it with bolts and stuff, but still, like, it all comes down to glue, and it always fails. So probably in 6-7 years these will be pushing through and falling through, and we'll have to come out and fix it. It's just the nature of these signs. Most of the time these signs fail, that's where they fail, or how they fail. Sure look nice though. Well, there we go. Ta-da. So that's a push-through acrylic shoebox style sign, about 95% installed. I still got to get in there and hook up the power. So I'll just have to come back in a little bit, find out when they open, if they're even open today. Until then, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. If you like this kind of stuff, let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.